Hi and welcome to another DIY project. Today I'm going to make a little device to control the lights on my trailer. I have the car pre-wired down at the hitch. The lights on the trailer itself is pre-wired and the sockets and plugs are there. What I'm going to use is relays. Now in my case I have only 4 lights to control. Brakes 1, 2 indicators 3, and parking lights or tail lights, so that's 4. I bought 5 little 12 volt micro relays, and they're lovely little handy neat relays, and some of them are 4 pin, some are 5 pin, and that's not a problem. So the relay, as you all know, is an electromagnetic switch. So basically what I'm going to design here, and I will do up a wiring diagram for this, so don't panic. The idea I have in mind is that each light, as long as you have access to the wiring loom that's going into the back of your tail light in the boot of your car or the trunk of your car, you will be able to make up this little device and get it to work. So it would only be a case of finding which wire controls which light. You would tap into that wire with another wire and you would bring it to the coil of the relay. Now a relay has a switch in it, and when the coil is activated, the switch closes. So basically you would be passing power directly from the car battery to the common side of the switch on the relay, out then from the other side of the switch to the appropriate light, be it brakes, indicators, whatever. Okay, so basically all you're doing is you're allowing your tail light to switch on and off these relays. That's all it will do. Now I know you could try the option of tapping directly into the wires in the boot of your car and feeding the socket that's outside for the trailer directly from the wires going into your tail lights. But I tried that and it worked with the parks and the brakes, but it wouldn't work with the indicators. So I opted for these little relays. I was going to mount these relays in a little box or some sort of a little holder to try and put them in safely in the boot of the car, but I kind of thought to myself after that because the pins here are exposed and you have spade connectors attached to them with wires hanging out of them, there's a danger of shorting out. Plus, if a relay goes faulty, you have to unplug all the wires, remember where they go, buy a new relay and pop it in. So what I did decide in the end was, now these relays are readily available on eBay. Just type in on the search line 12 volt micro relays and bundles of these will come up. So what I did buy was this 7-way. Now these come in various sizes as well, but this is a 7-way micro relay holder, and it's an automotive type relay holder. Again, widely available on eBay, no problem. You can get ones with fuses on them, you can get all sorts of configurations, so it's basically a case of getting one to suit your own needs. But this happens to be a 7-way, and I have only 5 relays, but I only need 4, but no harm to have spare. So it's a lovely little unit, and the relays basically just plug into them that way, and you can line them up whatever way suits you. And then there's 4 mounting lugs on each end of the box, both sides, that you can mount it to the car in some configuration inside in the boot or trunk. Okay, and the relays, as I say, just plug in and out. Wires then would be attached via these little spade connectors that you get with this guy. You get a whole bundle of them, and they work perfectly with the micro relays, and they go onto the extended wires and they push in to the back here, and once they're in, they're locked in position, and that way then when you're plugging in the relay, you're actually plugging it into the spade connectors, so they stay stationary. The wires are coming out, and there's a back protective case on it, or cover on it, like so. I won't clip it on fully, but that goes on to the back there like that and covers all the little spade connector ends, so there's no danger of short out or anything like that. On the top side of it then, there's a lovely glass little lid, which means you can see at a glance the ends of the relays, which means you could put a little sticker on each of the relays to indicate what they are controlling. So that's the setup I'm going to use, and I will show you wiring it into the boot of the car and all that is associated with doing the job. So what I'm going to do is, I have to, because I'm using the same color coded wire that's in the wire that comes from the trailer and from the socket outside the back of the car, I'm using the same color wire, so I'm going to make off the ends of these into the appropriate spade connectors and have it kind of pre-wired, and I'll label the ends of them so that if I decide that this one here is going to directional right hand side, I can know what wire is what, and it'll match the color code that is associated with all car trailers, right? So I'll fast forward and I'll organize all this loom and get them connected into the back here, that the relays are plugging into the actual spade connectors, and everything is on that side of it is working. Okay, and I'll come back to you and I'll show you what it's like. Okay, we're back again, and this time I basically want to show you what I'm doing and the progress I'm making. So what I'm at here at the minute is I'm wiring up a common feed that will come from the car battery to all the common ports on the switch side of the relay. So the power from the battery directly to the battery is coming in via this wire here, and it's linked across to the common on each of the relays. So that just basically goes down in there, and then I'll make off the last one, and then I'll have one wire coming out to go directly to the battery. So I'll carry on and I'll come back to you when I have a bit more done. Now I have to go the individual color coded wires according to the way trailers are wired. Yellow goes to left indicator and right indicator is green, and brake light is red, and tail lights are brown, and that covers the amount that I need. So I carry on now in these relays here. So 87 is this pin here, the inner one is the other side of the coil, and this one here is the other side of the switch, and this one here is the common to the switch, and these two here are the coil, right? So one side of the coil would be going to your tail light wire, and the other side of the coil would go directly to ground. So when your tail light lights up, be it your indicator or directional or your brakes or whatever, it activates the coil and the switch closes and sends power from this through to the appropriate light. And that's the basic principle of how it works. So I'll carry on, as I say, and keep wiring it up, and I'll come back to you from time to time and show you how I'm progressing. This time I have all the neutrals or negatives for the actual relay coils. I have them all linked together because again they would be common, right, to each of the relays. The one neutral to bring it down to the body of the car or whatever. I have this green wire put in because it represents the right hand indicator. So basically this links to the wire in the tail light, okay, that basically lights the indicator on the right hand side, and you tap this wire into it. Now I'm leaving them very long deliberately, but no harm to be looking at it and looking for it. So you tap this into the same wire in your tail light, in the trunk of the car, the boot of the car, that lights the right hand indicator. And in doing so, when the power is put to the right hand indicator, it energizes the coil, it sends power to the coil of this relay, and the neutral picks up on it and it completes the circuit. So the coil activates the switch, and this is the common. And then on the other side of the switch you will take the wire going out to the actual trailer, which will be green as well. So one green will be to the tail light, and the other green that's coming from the trailer will connect into the other side of the switch. I'm keeping all the wires, the color coding, the same, so that when I eventually get out to putting it into the car, all the colors will match. But I have one green wire. Let's take the green wire, which actually feeds the right indicator. Now I have that marked and labeled. You can see it there. I have it labeled right indicator, and I have switch written under. The other green, which is coming from the power part of the relay, the switch part of it, from the battery, that's that one, or sorry, that's this one here, which I've marked to trailer, right? So this is the one that's being fed directly from the battery when the relay is activated, and it feeds directly out to the right indicator on the trailer wire or harness. This green one, because it's the right indicator as well, but this is the switcher wire. So this is the wire that is attached to the harness on the lights in the trunk or boot of the car. So this is the one that will be tapped into the appropriate wire for the right indicator or directional, right? And I have followed that kind of methodology throughout. This one, the white one, then is my ground for the whole system, which is looped across all of the commons on the relay coils. And then this red one here is from the battery. Now I'm almost at the stage. I have to put a yellow one for power to the trailer and a red one for power to the trailer in yet. And I have the 4 relays that I will be using all labelled as well. I have brakes, I have tail lights, I have left indicator or directional, and I have right indicator or directional. These 3 here I'm not using. I only need 4. It's no harm. I have them wired in, but they're not going to be used in my case. But it's no harm to have them as extras just in case. So excuse the noise outside. The weather is very bad, and there's heavy rain falling as well. So I don't know if you can hear that, but that's what's going on. So we're nearly at the point where I can put the back cover on it and move out to the car, but obviously I'm not going to do that with the rain. So I'll carry on and finish the power wires. Okay, finally out in the back of the car. And basically I want to show you where I'm at the minute. I have the relay box attached here in the car. And the relays are all plugged in. It's fully wired, and you can see the wires are running up along here. I'll get something to point to it rather than putting my fingers in the way. Now you can see that there, all the wires are running up, and I'm trying to get them to run in nice and neatly in here at the back, right? That they're hidden, so they'll come out here. And this is the guy I'm talking about that is part of the car's loom, wiring loom, and it's feeding this tail light here. So you have your right hand indicator here, you have your brakes and your tail lights. So I'll be tapping off those wires, and you can see here I have the green one, and the green was for the right hand indicator or directional. And I have it already joined in to the switch part of the relay on the coil, and the other side of the coil then is going to the ground down here, right, on the battery. So when this indicator flashes, it sends power out through this green wire down to the relay. The relay clicks on, off, and in doing so it triggers this green wire to get power through the switch from this red wire here. So this is the main 12 volt from the battery going into the bank of relays that I showed you earlier, and I had them all looped together. So this is the 12 volt that's common across them all, right? And it's coming directly from the car battery. Now I have only this temporarily put in. I hope you can see that down there. See it here, right? So there's the 12 volt positive on the battery, and the 12 volt is running up along and into the relay box, and it's jumping across then from each of the commons on the switch of the relays. So when this guy fires, because of the indicator, this green one here, I just have it soldered. I'm about to cover the solder joint. It triggers the right hand indicator relay, which is the first one here in the bank, and that closes the switch, which allows the power to run from here up through the switch and back out via this green one here, okay, and out here, out into the socket to the trailer, okay, and it works the right hand indicator. So that's basically the way it works. Okay, so you get the idea. What I'll do is I'll keep going and I'll wire it all up, and I'll come back to you when I'm finished. So I've all the wires run across neatly in behind everything here, and I've a cable tied up onto all the other cables here, and I've the rest of the connections made off to the appropriate wires into the car loom. And then I have my white here as the ground, and this red one then is going to the positive on the battery. Now temporarily I'll just set it up going direct, but eventually I'm going to use this fuse holder just in case of overloads or short outs on the trailer or things like that. It's no harm to have a fuse in the circuit as well. Now if I plug in just temporarily, I put that there, and I'll switch on one of the indicators and you will hear it actually, the relay clicking in and out. So that's the right hand indicator working there, and the little relay is clicking in and out. So basically what's happening is the right hand indicator is coming on and off here in the tail light, and the signal from it is running down, feeding the coil of this relay here, the first one, and that relay then is acting according to the indicator. It's clicking on, off, on, off, on, off, on, off, right? And that action is switching on and off a switch within the relay. And that is switching the power from this positive wire, the red one, back through the green, this green one here that's going out, sorry, this green one here that's going out to the actual trailer socket at the back of the car. And this green one here is the trigger from the right hand indicator. The left hand one being the far side of the car, obviously I had to bring a wire right across under all the trimming and all that from the left hand indicator signal switch, and it was a yellow wire. And the same applies to all the others. This is the parking lights. Here is brown and white wire on mine. Again, I can't vouch for your car. Obviously your car is going to be different color coding. And the brown wire here going out is feeding the relay, and then the brown wire coming back is going directly out and out to the trailer from the switch on the relay. The brake one then is this wire here, and it's feeding the relay, and the relay in turn is allowing power to go directly from the battery back out and through the red wire here and out to the actual trailer and to the appropriate light. So all that's left to do now is hitch the trailer to it and plug it in and make sure that everything is working. So I'll come back to you when I have the car and trailer hitched up and plugged in, and we'll see that everything is working. Okay, you can see left hand indicator, left hand brake and tail light. Same on the car up further, right? So I'm going to switch on the left hand indicator, and you should see both of them flashing left. Right, there's the car one going, and there's the trailer one going, so that shows working. Okay, so I'll turn on the tail lights or parks, knock off the indicator, turn on the parks, and I should have them on in the car, and I do, and I have them on in the trailer, and they're less intense. Right, if I hit the brakes, you should have the same deal. Pressing the brake pedal now, and there they are on and off. I'll turn off the parks, and there's the brakes only. Okay, I just push on a piece of timber to hold the brake pedal. There's the brakes on, and I have a brake on the right and I have a brake on the left, and they're more intense. So that's basically it working. I can show it to you on the right hand side as well. So you can see brake light on the right hand side, and now I'll hit the right hand indicator. You can also see it here on the car brake light. Okay, and now I'll hit the right hand indicator, or directional, and there it is on the car, and there it is on the trailer. Okay, so that proves it's working. And if I knock off the brakes and put on just the tail lights or parks, that's them on, and there in the car, and that's it there on the trailer. So happy out, it works. Now I'm going to switch to showing you the wiring diagram. Right, so down to the wiring diagram. Now I'm going to try and make this as simple as possible and explain it to you. Basically what we have here is car battery. These two represent the tail light in the trunk or boot of your car. That's the left hand side, is the right hand side. This guy here represents the socket outside next to the hitch on the back of the car. And all these here represent our relays. Now there are 7 wires in, I suppose, European sockets. I'm not sure about American or how they work, but for the European market I'm sure all the sockets are the same. Now I don't have markers or these guys to felt tip pens to match all the colors that I need. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how some of the wiring is done, and the same principle follows through for the rest of the lights. So the first thing we'll start with is the actual negative on the battery. And if I take a black marker here and I come down straight from the negative, right, and if I go to one side of the coil, so this guy here, 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 here and here, they all represent the coil of your relays. So up here is the switches that's inside the relays, and one side of the coil is linked with neutrals. It's common to them all. Okay, so we just show that there like that, and I can draw straight out to this guy here. So the negative of your battery comes down straight out and connects into one side of each of the coils in the relays, and obviously the different amount of relays that you use will determine how many neutrals or negatives that you've got. Now the other thing that is common is the positive from the battery. Now this is the common side of each of the switches in the relays. Alright, so again I would just go straight up, straight up, straight up, and I would link all those together like so, and bring it straight over that it connects into the positive of the battery. Now you would have a fuse in it as well, so we'll just make out that's the fuse there. So I'll just write in, I think this is black, yeah, F-U-S-E. So that's your fuse, okay, to protect the circuit. So power from the battery comes directly down and into the common of each of the switches within the relay. The other side of the switches then feed the socket, okay? And what triggers and tells the relays to close those switches is the wires coming from your taillights. So in the case of my setup, now obviously I can't tell you what works in your particular model of car, because the wiring color code in the car's wiring loom is going to be very different to the color code that's in mine. So there is no point in me telling you what the colors are in mine, because it would make no difference if you have a Toyota or a Mazda or a Merc or a whatever Hyundai. It's not going to be the same as mine, okay? So in the case of the socket though, and again this I suppose only applies to the European market, each of the pins in the socket are designated color, and your left indicator is number 1 pin up here, and that's yellow. Number 2 pin is your rear fog light, and that's blue. White, which is number 3 here, is the vehicle earth or car earth. Then 4 is this one here, which is green, and it's the right indicator or directional. 5, this one here, is brown, and it's the right side light tail or tail light, right? Or it would really call your parking lights, which is tied into your tail lights, okay? You turn on if you pull up at night and you park into a gateway or an entrance or something like that, and you have traffic passing up and down the road, you need to be able to flick the indicator lever either up or down, right or left, depending on which side of the car is kind of protruding on the road. And all it will do is light up the park light on that side and in the front as well, just to let traffic know in the dead of night that there is a car parked on the side of the road and to be aware of it, okay? So that's what they're for. Number 5 is the right hand side. Number 6 then is red, and that's your brake light. And number 7 is the center one, and that's your left side tail light, or again your left park light, okay? So we'll work with the right indicator, and I took basically what you have to do is you have to feed right indicator is number 4, that's this pin here. So in my case I took relay 1 and I had it feeding the right indicator. So from the other side of the switch I came up, jumped that and up and straight across, and into pin 4 on the socket. So now if this relay here is triggered, the power will run from here through the switch and out the green and out to the socket on the back of the car. Okay, simple. To trigger this relay, it's another green wire. Remember I told you I keep all the color coding the same. That way then you knew exactly what was what. So from the right hand taillight in the trunk or boot of the car, I took from the appropriate wire in the car's wiring loom that fed the right hand indicator or directional, I took a green wire and I brought it straight down. We have a visitor in here in the form of a fly. Straight down like that, and I bring it straight across. This is where it gets now a bit like spaghetti junction. Go down here like that, and we'll come down here, jump that, and in to the other side of that coil. Okay, so now I hit the indicator or directional, the right hand one on my car, and the appropriate wire in the car's wiring loom, I've tapped this green wire into it. So the indicator directional starts flashing in the car. It's sending a signal down through here, which is telling this relay to tick, click, 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 as I showed you in the video. You could hear it. Okay. In doing so, this switch here is opening, closing, and the power comes directly from the battery through the switch, as we said, up through this green one. So this is the switcher wire. Remember I was explaining that? This is the switcher wire, and this is the power side for the same circuit. In other words, the right hand indicator or directional. So the same applies to the rest. So I'll do, what else have I got? The brakes then, they're red, and that's pin number 6. So I think I used the second relay. It doesn't really matter which way you organize them. The wiring is going to be the same. So in this case, I'll take it from the last one here, just not to make this too much like a spaghetti junction. And so it's a red wire according to the European sockets and wiring system. It's a red wire for the brakes. So I have to feed this socket, same as I did with the indicator directional. So I come up with my red wire and I jump that and up again, and it's up to pin number 6, which is this one here. Right, and we go straight in. So that's the power side of it. Now in order to trigger this coil to tell the power to go out to the socket, we have to tap off the brake lights in either the left hand or right hand tail light in your car. I took the majority of them actually from the right hand, because the car battery and where I had the relay system, you saw all that was on or located in the right hand side of the car. So I took the majority of the connections from the right hand. Like the brake lights, the fog lights, the park lights, reverse lights, they're all going to be common to both sides, right? So if you do happen to have reverse lights on your trailer or fog lights or things like that, once the fog light comes on one side, on both sides of the car, it'll light up the appropriate pin in your socket here, and there's no problem that way. So you can take the majority of the connections from the one side if you want. So in order to trigger this coil then, as I say, I took it from the right hand side. So we'll come down here again with a red, keeping the color system the same. Actually, I go right through make it handy, jump that, and down to this coil here. Okay. So now, I hit the brakes. Yes, left and right light up, but we only need to tap into one, the appropriate wire for the brake lights. It powers up and it sends power down here and triggers the coil of this relay, which already has a ground going back to directly to the battery. So it triggers this. In doing so, it closes this switch and the power comes directly from the battery across, down, through the switch, back up and out to pin 6 and lights your brakes on your trailer. Because again, the same color coding and wiring system is in the trailer, and the plug in the trailer matches this exactly, and it's all wired exactly the same with the same color coding. So there's really no way you can go wrong with them once you keep following the color code. And the beauty of it is, if I borrow a trailer from a friend or whatever, and he has his wired and it's wired properly, and he'd have to be using the same kind of plug on his trailer, it'll gladly plug into my car and it should work without any problem, because we're all following the same color code and the same wiring setup, so it should work no problem. So what other one have I got? I've got right, pin number 3 is the vehicle earth. That's this pin here. So that would go directly to the car battery, or it could go directly to the the body of the car if you want. You don't have to bring it back to the battery, but I did in my case. But you can just bring it to the body, some metal part of the car, and it'll do exactly the same job, right? So I just tap it up into that there. Same difference. All right. So that's the bodies, the earth for the trailer and for the whole system within it. What else have I got? I've got green, I've got red. I don't have, that's the vehicle earth is a white wire, but I can't show a white marker on a white sheet of paper. So do I have a blue wire? I do. Rear fog lights comes from pin number 2 here. I could take it out this way, like so, and come down. Again, I can pick any relay I like, it doesn't matter. I just pick, let's see, I'll pick, actually I've jumped the gun a bit too, I've gone too far. Yeah. I'll go across there, I think. See what I mean by spaghetti junction? Yeah. Right, and down in there. Ignore that there. Okay. So, pin number 2, let's say this is the coil. And you see, this is why I was telling you that you can label the coils or the relays, the backs of them, and you can see it through the glass lid in the little box that I showed you. That way then, at a glance, if anything fails or if a relay goes down or whatever, you know at a glance which one is which, and you can unplug them and work them no problem. So again, fog lights would be common to both sides of the car. So again, I tapped it off from the right hand side. So I came down from the right hand one, as I say, and I'll just drop it down here. for handiness sake, jump that, jump all that, and it goes directly down to the coil. Oh, like that. Okay. So now I switch on the fog lights in the car and it powers. Again, this is tapped into the appropriate wire for the fog lights, and it powers up this wire here. It powers up the coil in this relay. Can be any of them, doesn't matter. And the power comes straight through the switch, back out the other blue, and out to pin number 2, which represents rear fog lights. Make sense? I hope it does. So you've followed that system, and it's only because I don't have brown, I don't have white, I have blue, I don't have yellow. I don't have yellow. No, I don't have any yellow marker or felt tipped at all. But now the only other thing is the left indicator is the yellow wire. So obviously that would come from the left hand side of the car in European world. Yeah, well, Ireland, England, Australia. You take yellow wire from here, again from the appropriate wire in the harness of the car. You tap into it and you bring it down and pick this relay, say here, and you come down and into the coil, right? Then that left hand indicator or directional will trigger this coil. In doing so, it will close that switch, which will send power then from this side of the switch up and over to pin 1, which is this one here. Okay, so you see that it's the same principle regardless which one you're going for. You're just tapping one of the colours to feed the coil into the harness of the car. You're coming out with the same colour from the other side of the switch, the open side of the switch, to the socket at the back of the car down next to hitch. And the power is coming directly from the battery into each of the switches, the common on each switch, ready for action. And the coils then have their neutrals or negatives all linked together, ready for action. They're only waiting for the signal from the appropriate wire in the boot of the car or trunk. Okay, so I hope that makes it simpler to understand. I know it was a bit of a kind of a spaghetti bundle when I was here with the wires trying to explain it. I was even confusing myself. So it can get a little bit confusing, but if you think about it logically, it's the same approach to each light. Just find which one is the wire in the loom of the car. Tap into that, bring it to the coil. Take the other side of the switch from that relay and bring it out to the appropriate pin on the socket beside your hitch. And that's basically how it works. And you see there, no matter which one I picked, the same logic followed right through. Okay? If you wire it like that, it will work. You saw mine, it works. So I hope this has been of use to you. I hope I've simplified it and made it make more sense. Okay, so hopefully it's of use to you, and you might attempt to do it yourself and end up with a working system the same as mine. I don't know if it's any better or more reliable than these electronic gadgets that you can buy that do the same job. I'm not sure. Time will tell. So that's it, folks. So thank you to those that have subscribed. Subscribe for those of you that haven't, please. And I'll see you in the next video. So take care. Bye for now.